A woman woke up in a cold sweat. She had the dream again, the one where she was being chased by a dark figure. She could still feel the fear coursing through her veins. She got out of bed and went to the window. The sun was just starting to rise, and the sky was a beautiful shade of pink. But the woman couldn't enjoy the view. She was too worried about the dream. She went back to bed and tried to go back to sleep, but she couldn't stop thinking about the dream. She knew it was just a dream, but it felt so real. She couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was going to happen. The next day, the woman went to work, but she couldn't focus. She kept thinking about the dream. She was so distracted that she made a mistake at work, and her boss had to yell at her. After work, the woman went home and tried to relax, but she couldn't. She was too scared. She decided to go for a walk to clear her head. The woman walked for a long time, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed. She turned around a few times, but she didn't see anyone. The woman was starting to panic. She didn't know what to do. She ran as fast as she could, but the feeling of being followed didn't go away. The woman finally ran into an alleyway, hoping to lose the person who was following her. She hid in the shadows, and she waited. After a few minutes, the woman heard footsteps coming down the alleyway. She held her breath, hoping that the person would pass her by. The footsteps stopped right in front of the woman. She could hear someone breathing. She closed her eyes and waited for the worst. But then, the footsteps started to walk away. The woman opened her eyes and saw that the alleyway was empty. The woman didn't know who had been following her, but she was relieved that they were gone. She slowly walked out of the alleyway and continued on her way home. The woman never told anyone about the dream or the feeling of being followed. She was afraid that people would think she was crazy. But the woman never forgot the dream. She knew that it meant something, and she was determined to figure out what it was. A few weeks later, the woman was watching the news when she saw a story about a woman who had been found murdered in an alleyway. The woman's body had been mutilated, and the police had no leads. The woman who had been watching the news felt a chill run down her spine. She knew that the woman who had been murdered was the same woman who had been following her in her dreams. The woman called the police and told them about her dream. The police didn't believe her at first, but they eventually took her seriously. The woman gave the police a detailed description of the man who had been following her in her dreams. The police ran the description through their database, but they couldn't find a match. The woman was determined to help the police catch the killer. She started going to therapy to try to remember more details about the dream. After a few months of therapy, the woman finally remembered the killer's face. She called the police and gave them a new description. The police were able to identify the killer, and they arrested him. The killer was eventually convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. The woman who had been followed in her dreams was finally able to get some closure. She knew that the killer would never be able to hurt anyone else again. If you ever have a dream that scares you, tell someone about it and try to figure out what it means. You will feel good. So this was a story from AspiringDas. Thanks for watching. See you soon.